In the middle of Tokyo's busy streets, there is a secret that could make you 35% richer. It's not found in the neon lights or the latest technological gadget, but in a simple century-old practice known as Kakeibo. Today, Peter, an average American with a keen interest in improving his financial health, will take us through the Japanese mastery of saving. Why are the Japanese the best at saving? What can we learn from them and implement immediately to set ourselves up for a prosperous future? Let us learn about Japanese ways to save and spend money wisely and see how Peter can use these lessons in his own life. Firstly, let's look at the numbers that show how different Japanese and American spending habits are. In the US, the culture of consumption is evident in the way money flows out as quickly as it comes in. For the average American, like Peter, this means living in a cycle where spending often outpaces saving, a cycle fueled by instant gratification. Japan, on the other hand, has a very different story about money. The numbers speak volumes. In 2024, Americans are saving roughly 3.9% of their disposable income, which is a significant decrease from the pandemic highs of 16.8% in 2020. This rate is also considerably lower than the average personal savings rate since 1959, which is 8.8%. Comparatively, Japan has been known for its high savings rate, historically surpassing many other nations. However, specific current data for Japan's savings rate in 2024 wasn't directly accessed in this instance, but as of a previous report, Japan has a savings rate of 35%. This number is a lot higher than the savings rate in the US, showing a big difference in how people save in those two countries. The contrast in savings rates between Americans and Japanese can be attributed to various factors, including economic conditions, cultural differences, social security systems, and personal financial habits. Japan's higher savings rate has often been associated with its cultural emphasis on saving and financial security. This difference, though seemingly small, represents a significant disparity in how the two cultures view and manage their finances. The implications of these savings habits are further highlighted by the level of personal debt carried by consumers in both countries. In the United States, the average household credit card debt is a staggering $6,194, showcasing a tendency towards living on borrowed money. This figure not only highlights the prevalence of credit reliance, but also demonstrates a broader cultural acceptance of debt as a part of life. Contrastingly, in Japan, the approach to debt is more conservative. The use of credit is measured, with a greater emphasis on saving and living within one's means. This disciplined approach to finances is not just about avoiding debt. It's about building a foundation for future security and prosperity. The difference in financial behavior between the two countries can also be seen in emergency savings. A survey by Bankrate found that only 40% of Americans would be able to cover an unexpected $1,000 expense using their savings. In contrast, the Japanese are more likely to have a financial cushion thanks to their higher savings rate, which enables them to handle unforeseen expenses without resorting to debt. These numbers paint a clear picture. The American and Japanese approaches to money management are worlds apart. For Americans like Peter, adopting a more Japanese-like mindset towards savings could be the key to breaking the cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck living. It's about shifting from a culture of spending to one of saving. A change that requires not just discipline, but a fundamental reevaluation of one's relationship with money. Now, why do the Japanese save so much? It's a question that reveals deep cultural insights and showcases the effectiveness of practical methods ingrained in their daily lives. At the heart of this saving culture is Kakeibo, a traditional Japanese budgeting tool that has been around since 1904. Unlike Peter, who might impulsively buy the latest gadget on credit, a Japanese individual practicing Kakeibo would approach this decision with much more deliberation. Kakeibo is more than just a budgeting tool, it's a philosophy. It encourages individuals to write down their financial transactions with pen and paper, creating a personal connection with their spending habits. This act of writing, reflecting, and categorizing expenses into needs and wants helps individuals become more mindful of where their money goes. It's about asking oneself, do I really need this before making a purchase? A question that might not cross Peter's mind in a culture of instant gratification. The Japanese culture of saving is also deeply influenced by the values of minimalism and mindfulness. These values teach the importance of living within one's means and finding contentment in what one already has. This cultural backdrop makes the practice of saving not just a financial strategy, but a way of life. Moreover, the Japanese education system plays a crucial role in instilling financial literacy from a young age. Children learn the value of money and the importance of saving, which shapes their attitudes towards finances as adults. This early education contrasts sharply with the often credit-reliant approach seen in the U.S., where financial education might not receive the same emphasis. Beyond cultural and educational influences, practical methods and government policies also contribute to the high savings rate in Japan. Tax incentives for saving and government-promoted savings programs encourage individuals to set aside a portion of their income. These policies create an environment where saving is not only encouraged, but also rewarded. The practice of Kakeibo has a tangible impact on saving goals. By categorizing expenses and setting clear savings targets, individuals can track their progress and adjust their spending habits accordingly. This methodical approach to finances can lead to significant savings over time. The contrast with American spending habits is clear. In the U.S., the emphasis often lies on earning more rather than saving more. This mindset, coupled with easy access to credit, can lead to a cycle of spending and debt. Peter's story shows this cycle, in which the short-term pleasure of buying something is greater than the long-term gain of saving. For Americans looking to improve their savings, adopting some of these practices could be a step towards financial stability and peace of mind. Let's say Peter decides to adopt Kakeibo. He starts by jotting down his income and expenses, categorizing them into needs, wants, cultural education, and extras. This act of writing makes him more conscious of where his money is going. Initially, Peter earns $4,000 monthly, and like many, spends without much thought, often finding himself with less than $100 of savings at the month's end. In his first month of practicing Kakeibo, Peter realizes he's been spending $1,200 on wants, gadgets, eating out, and online shopping. His needs, including rent, utilities, and groceries, come to $2,000. He allocates $400 to culture and education, such as books and online courses, and $200 to extras, unforeseen expenses that don't fit neatly into other categories. By categorizing his expenses, Peter sees that his wants consume a significant portion of his income. He decides to challenge himself to reduce this by 50%, setting a new target of $600 for wants. This decision alone frees up $600 for savings or investments. Over the next few months, Peter's diligence with Kakeibo will transform his financial landscape. The act of physically writing down each expense and reflecting on its necessity leads him to question and often forego unnecessary purchases. The $600 saved from reducing his wants is now directed into a high-yield savings account. Assuming an annual interest rate of 2%, this decision not only preserves his capital, but also grows it. Peter's approach to culture and education and extras remains thoughtful. He realizes that investing in his personal growth and allowing for some flexibility in his budget makes sticking to his financial plan more sustainable. By the end of the year, through the consistent application of Kakeibo principles, Peter has saved $7,200 from his wants category alone, not accounting for the compound interest accrued in his savings account. Moreover, Peter discovers that his mindfulness towards spending has spilled over into other areas of his life. He feels more in control and less stressed about his financial situation. The clarity Kakeibo brings to his finances helps him set and achieve meaningful goals, such as building an emergency fund, planning for a vacation, and even starting to invest. Peter's journey into the world of saving takes a significant turn when he decides to embrace 5 fundamental Japanese savings rules. These rules, simple yet profound, guide him to a better understanding of his finances and help him make more informed decisions. The first rule is all about understanding your financial flow. For Peter, this means tracking every dollar that comes into and goes out of his pocket. It's a revelation to see how his earnings are distributed across various expenses and savings. Next, Peter learns the importance of setting clear financial goals. Whether it's a dream vacation to Japan or the peace of mind that comes from a solid emergency fund, having specific targets gives his saving efforts direction and purpose. These goals act as a motivational force, pushing him to make choices that align with his long-term aspirations. Categorizing spending is another crucial step in Peter's financial makeover. By organizing his expenses into distinct categories, he gains clarity on where his money is going. This process reveals that some areas of spending previously overlooked are ripe for reduction. More importantly, it shows him that cutting back doesn't have to mean sacrificing his quality of life. It's about spending smarter, not necessarily less. Reflection becomes a monthly ritual for Peter. At the end of the month, he sits down to review his financial activities, pondering what strategies worked in his favor and which didn't. This regular introspection helps him adjust his approach, learn from his mistakes, and celebrate his successes. It's a practice that keeps him engaged and committed to his financial journey. Finally, Peter approves the power of small changes. He discovers that minor adjustments, like skipping the daily coffee shop visit, can have a substantial impact on his savings over time. It's a lesson in the cumulative power of small, consistent actions. These savings, seemingly insignificant at first, add up, contributing significantly to his financial goals. Through these 5 Japanese savings rules, Peter transforms his approach to money. He moves from being a passive participant in his financial life to an active, informed decision-maker. This shift not only puts him on a path to achieving his financial goals, but also instills a sense of empowerment and confidence in his ability to manage his finances effectively. By understanding your financial flow, setting clear goals, categorizing spending, reflecting regularly, and embracing small changes, anyone can take control of their finances. What small changes are you willing to make today to improve your savings? Share your thoughts and strategies in the comments below. Let's inspire each other to achieve our financial goals, one small step at a time.